Drop oil into a glass of water, and the two liquids instantly separate. The standard textbook explanation for this behavior relies on basic electrostatic repulsion. Water is a highly polar molecule. Its bent geometric shape concentrates a negative electrostatic charge near the oxygen atom and a positive charge near the hydrogen atoms, generating a measurable net dipole moment. Oil molecules lack this uneven charge distribution. Without a net dipole moment, they cannot form hydrogen bonds with water, rendering them entirely hydrophobic and completely insoluble. Qualitative polarity explains why phases separate, but fluid dynamics requires the mathematical utility of tension values. To engineer real systems, we must quantify the exact thermodynamic force operating at the boundary layer between the two phases. This is interfacial tension. This tension is a microscopic force, yet it dictates macroscopic structures in nature, pulling perfectly spherical water droplets into rigid equilibrium on a hydrophobic leaf. Actively calculating the mechanical vectors and free energies at the interface is the only way to reliably control fluid behavior at this scale. Interfacial tension is a strictly mechanical phenomenon. It is the direct result of unbalanced attractive forces localized entirely at the surface, separating two immiscible fluids. Looking at this 2D cross-section of an oil-water interface, we can visualize the internal mechanics. Within the water phase, strong cohesive forces, driven by hydrogen bonds, continuously pull individual molecules inward toward the bulk of the liquid. At the boundary itself, weaker dispersion forces reach across the phase line to adhere to the oil. Because these adhesive forces are far weaker than the internal cohesion, a net unbalanced horizontal plane of tension forms directly between the liquids. Early models attempted to calculate this plane using Antonov's rule, which assumes that interfacial tension is the mathematical difference between the pure surface tensions of the two isolated liquids. This simple subtraction holds true for basic pairs like water and carbon tetrachloride, but test it on a system like water and cyclohexanol, and the math fails drastically. To correct this, the Girafalco-Good correlation was introduced. This model incorporates the specific free energies of the two phases into the calculation. This equation resolves the failure by isolating a constant, phi. Phi represents the exact thermodynamic ratio of the free energy of adhesion crossing the interface to the geometric mean of the free energies of cohesion within the bulk phases. The failure of Antonov's rule proves that analyzing surface tension and isolation is insufficient. Any accurate fluid model must account for the specific thermodynamic relationship between adhesion and cohesion. While the Girafalco-Good correlation improves predictive accuracy, its geometry breaks down when applied to strongly polar or metallic liquids, like mercury. The Fowlkes correlation evolved the math further to handle these extremes. It operates by completely separating nonpolar dispersion forces from metallic or hydrogen bonding forces. We can see this mechanism in the Fowlkes equation. By isolating the gamma-d variables, this formula assumes that the interaction across the immiscible boundary relies exclusively on nonpolar dispersion forces. To find the unknown dispersion contribution of a polar flumic, engineers tested against a purely nonpolar baseline liquid, where total surface tension is known to be exactly equal to its dispersion force. We can apply this to calculate the extreme interfacial tension between water and mercury at 293 Kelvin. By plugging in their established gamma-d values, 22 and 200 millinewtons per meter respectively, the model outputs a theoretical tension of 416.1. The experimental measurement for that exact system is 426 millinewtons per meter. Predicting boundary interactions in extreme chemical environments requires mathematically stripping away all internal phase forces, isolating only the vectors actively crossing the interface. Moving from theoretical calculation to physical testing introduces severe mechanical limitations. Standard interfacial measurement techniques, like the Dunois ring method, require a physical probe to pierce the liquid boundary. Piercing the boundary works for crude oil, but it is entirely useless for systems like microemulsions. In these mixtures, interfacial tensions drop to 10 to the negative 6 millinewtons per meter, a force far too delicate to survive physical contact. To measure these ultra-low tensions, engineers rely on specialized hardware, the spinning drop tensiometer. The mechanical setup is elegant. A droplet of a lighter fluid is suspended inside a denser liquid, totally enclosed in a horizontal glass tube. By accelerating to immense angular velocities, often exceeding 1,000 radians per second, we alter the physical environment. At these high RPMs, the system achieves gyrostatic equilibrium. The horizontal gravitational forces acting on the fluid become completely negligible compared to the centrifugal forces. Looking at this cross-section of the rotating tube, the droplet is forced directly to the axis of rotation. It elongates into a cylindrical shape with hemispherical ends as centrifugal force pushes outward, trying to expand the drop. The sole opposing force keeping the droplet intact is the interfacial tension, which pulls back inward against the centrifugal expansion. As the RPM stabilizes, the drop reaches an exact measurement threshold. The elongation permanently ceases at the exact moment the inward interfacial tension perfectly balances the outward pressure difference generated by the centrifugal field. By weaponizing centrifugal force against interfacial tension, we can accurately measure boundaries that are physically impossible to probe. The physical elongation of the spinning drop is translated back into a precise tension measurement using the Vonnegut equation. This equation maps the tension directly onto the geometry of the cylinder. It derives the final force using the density difference between the two fluids, the angular velocity of the tube, and the equatorial radius of the elongated drop. For the math to remain accurate, the operational limit is strictly defined. The ratio of the drop's physical length to its diameter must exceed 4. This dynamic highlights the sheer physical scale of the mathematics. At an angular velocity of 1050 radians per second and a slight density difference between an oil and water sample, a tension of 50 millinewtons per meter results in a drop radius of just 1.065 millimeters. The Vonnegut equation derives invisible thermodynamic forces using nothing but RPM, fluid density, and a highly measurable radius. The principles governing fluids suspended in fluids apply equally when liquid droplets rest on uniform, flat, solid surfaces. When this occurs, we measure the contact angle, denoted as theta. This is the geometric angle measured strictly inside the liquid, between the solid surface and the tangent of the liquid surface. This contact angle represents a strict thermodynamic equilibrium between three distinct phase tensions competing at the contact point: the air-liquid interface, the air-solid interface, and the liquid-solid interface. This exact equilibrium is formalized mathematically by the Young-Dupree equation, which calculates the contact angle using the difference between the solid surface energies divided by the liquid surface energy. This equation establishes a rigid hydrophilic threshold. If the air-solid tension is greater than the liquid-solid tension, the contact angle mathematically must fall below pi/2 radians, causing the liquid to spread and wet the surface. Conversely, if the air-solid tension is lower, the angle exceeds pi/2 radians. The droplet is forced to bead up into a hydrophobic state. In extreme engineering applications, such as the design of highly water-repellent textures, surfaces are structured to force this contact angle as high as 5 pi/6 radians. The degree of wetting is the rigid geometric result of these three competing interfacial energies. Tracing the behavior of fluids begins by recognizing the fundamental asymmetry of electrostatic dipoles, but it must end in calculating the macroscopic consequences of phase boundaries. Accurate modeling of these environments demands strict thermodynamic corrections, utilizing the Girifalco-Good and Fowkes correlations to account for the unique interactions of adhesion and internal cohesion. To map these forces, engineers subject fluids to extreme mechanical manipulation, utilizing high RPM gyrostatic equilibrium to counteract the surface physics they are trying to measure. These same vectors, governed by the Young-Dupree equation, dictate vast industrial applications, controlling the exact wetting rates of pharmaceutical powders and ensuring the repulsion of polymer coatings. Whether formulating stable microemulsions or predicting phase separation, interfacial engineering provides the mathematical tools to master the invisible boundary.